Communication is more complex than ever. And with the shift to the virtual world, your audiences now have the ability to be much more selective with the type of content and the type of communications that they choose to engage with. They've also got more choice around the channels they use to absorb information and their preferences around how and where they choose to interact with it. There's also more distractions than ever. So be it children, pets, social media, emails, that once captive audience that you had at a webinar or an event are no longer so captive. When we talk about communicating as part of a virtual event or a webinar program, we're really talking about the way in which you intend to get your story and your message across to that audience. You've done all the hard work, you've got an audience with key stakeholders, decision makers, and even potential new customers or prospects. What we now need to think about is how we create a clear and compelling story that engages that audience and prompts them into taking an action off the back of this. It's vital to think about the key messages that you want to share or communicate during this event, and then have a look at how these might be broken or chunked down to form the main building blocks of the engagement. Have you built in a number of hooks that will grab and keep your audience's attention right across the event or throughout the webinar? Using a story structure like the audience pathway model or even the Sparkline model is a really good way to help keep you focused and ensure that the information you're sharing is for the benefit of the audience and not just acting as a script for the presenter. Looking at virtual events and webinars specifically, timing is a really critical factor. Anything too long and there's a real danger of audiences being distracted or becoming disengaged and drifting off. Have a think about how content can be tailored or structured to fit the differing needs of the audience or those attending on the day. For example, is there content or messaging that's relevant to everyone? If so, then great, because this might form the basis of the main plenary session. Whereas if there's content that's only specific to a selected group or number of the people attending, then maybe this might be better delivered as breakout sessions or deeper dives or follow-up following the main event. Thinking about the tools that you use to support your delivery is also a really important success factor. PowerPoint, which is typically the weapon of choice for more standard traditional face-to-face events, can still be a really useful tool for remote delivery. However, we'd suggest that you need to think a bit more about the visuals or the content that you're developing. We'd suggest keeping visuals really simple and steering clear of any complex builds, transitions or animations. There's also a great opportunity to think about repurposing visuals so that they can be shared through different channels, either during or post-event. Taking a static visual that was presented as part of the main plenary session and repurposing this as an animated GIF or a standalone infographic to be shared on LinkedIn or Twitter might again be a really good way to grab the audience's attention and underpin those key messages that you're sharing at the main event. Once the virtual event's over, there's still a really good opportunity to drive that two-way connection with your audience by asking them for feedback and prompting questions. So what worked, what didn't, what was missing from the main session? Not only is this a great way to see if your key messages landed as intended, but it's also a really good opportunity to identify any gaps in the content and prompt further discussion post-event. The communicate stage is really the whole reason that you've got this group of people together in the first place. If you get it right, there's a great opportunity to prompt an action or to drive a change within a group of people. Get it wrong and your audience will be left scratching their head in confusion, no action will be taken, and you won't see a return on the time, the money or the investment that you've put into the project.